Hey everybody, welcome to Painting for Pleasure. I'm your host, Tony Visco, and we're going to do a fun barn today. We're going to do this, we've done them in the past, barns, but there's a lot of people that have a little bit of a problem with perspective and how to actually approach a barn, so I thought maybe I'd just do one central piece. Going to do the barn in here, make all of the green. We'll do this as a spring probably scene, light background, medium value here, maybe some dark trees in the background. But the first thing I want to do is I want to take a little bit of my cerulean blue and mix it up here very loosely. Okay, so I'm going to mix it up similar to this here, very watery. Right here, okay, and add a little bit. It's going to be in the green side because most of the stuff that I'm going to be doing is going to be green in the background. And we're going to start to put it in. Now the paper's dry, so we're going to paint wet onto dry instead of wet into wet. And I'm going to run this across. As you see me doing it, we're just going to come over here and just add a little bit more cerulean blue as I come down. Okay, and I'm going to add a little bit of lavender into my cerulean blue as well. I want to bring that up in this area here. And just lavender as we come down. And we're going to come down around the building. A little bit more lavender in here. Come right over the telephone pole, right down here into the area where it's going to meet the ground. In the same way over here, we're going to end up coming around. Now, as long as this is wet, we have an ability to bring it down without any streaks. So I'm just coming around. I don't have to go around the building, quite frankly, because I can go over the my roof is going to probably be more lavender-like. But for the sake of our lesson, I'm going around the building, coming down. And the fence over here I'm going to leave on the white side. A little bit more lavender as I come down into this area here. We'll be covering a lot of this. And I'm going to come right around this fence post. I'm going to leave that white, the white of the paper. Okay, and that's the white of the paper. And we're going to do something like this. And we'll do a little space in here, a little space in there, and a little space in here. Okay. Right, so what we have is sort of like a greenish background. To start with. Right, now what I want to do is I want to take a little bit more my water and spritz it in here a little bit more. And just sit and watch that for a bit. I want to just change up my water and get it a little bit cleaner. So if I take a tissue, now this whole thing is green to green lavender. Lavender's on the bluish side. Alright, so it's going to be cool. And what I'm going to start to do now is to remove some of these areas. Well, I may not be able to because, let's see. Wet it up a little bit. I want some lights and darks here. So just wet the tissue a bit and what I want to do is just make some of these areas a little bit brighter, a little bit lighter, less green, I guess. Up in this area here, where there's more sky. I got to be careful about I'm starting to get pock marks here. Don't want those. Well, we got them. We're gonna have to deal with them. All right. So what I've got is some green background. We're gonna get a little bit heavier in the green. I want to get a little bit more cobalt blue mixture in here. And with cobalt blue as part of my mixture, I'm going to end up getting New Gamboge and mix it in here. Alright. And we're going to start to look at maybe what happens here in some of these areas. Darken this up a bit. A little bit more cobalt blue, a little bit more and what we're going to do is make, this is wet now, and it's, again, we're dealing with wet paint, wet pigment, not so much watery. It is a little bit on the watery side, but I want it to be watery with the consistency of maybe milk to cream. And we're going to start to just come in here and put some interesting values in here, darker values now, because I want to be able to see through this. So we're going to test this out. I want to be able to see through it. And as I come down into this area over here, some of these areas are going to be darker. And I'm going to come around actually I'm coming around I have a telephone pole here, not a wire pole, power pole that's here. And I'm just going to sort of paint around this a little bit more. Right there, and I'm going to come over here and do the same thing if I can find the edge. This is a little bit tougher from this side. Let's see if I can get it from the top. A little bit of... Whoops. Well, we'll deal with it later. Okay. Darkening this up a little bit. Okay, a little bit more cobalt blue. As I come down, a little bit more gamboge in here. Get it greener. And we have a tree trunk in here. Tree trunk in here. Couple of tree trunks here, which I'm going to leave on the light side. And make this all darker. Okay, all right. And we're going to come up here and do the same thing. We've got some green. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a little bit more New Gamboge in this. I want to make it greener. In order to make it even greener, I'm going to need some yellow ochre in here as well. Change up the color a bit. And this is certainly something that is not, this is not going to be pine trees. These are deciduous tree leaves, okay? So we want to make sure that we got that, we want to make sure that we got that look. And again, as we come over, we want to change up the color. Bring some of this into here. Mix some of that there. I want some light through here. This is all a tree background. Yellow ochre, maybe a little bit of, here, a little bit of yellow ochre and a little bit of Naples yellow together. Okay, and we have some light bark trees here. Now, and I'm going to make it actually lighter. So I need more water. Now to make it lighter, we're just basically all we're doing is we're taking water, very loose water, and as I come over here, I want some of the stuff that's be lighter on this side as well. Lighter. This is all trees. So more pigment, the deeper, the denser, more water, the lighter it is, less dense. Okay. Okay, water is going to be the more water we have in this, the lighter it's going to be. So what I'm dealing with is the background. I want to see through these trees so there are holes in them. Now I may not have as many holes as I have right now, but I need to get a feel for this. I want to come down in this area here, and as I come painting around my barn here right now, all right, and we're going to come down in this area here the same way, and I'm going to do all of this nice and light down here. Watery, light, light and watery. This is just nothing but now colored water. All right. So we get a feeling of light up here, darker at the top and the brown in the background area. I'm going to let that set up a bit. Let it dry off a bit. Took a little tissue, dried it out a bit here and there. So, overall, in general, what we're really trying to do is to just get a good flavor of working in greens, but we're working from light to dark. Now, I don't generally always stay in greens. It's just a sort of tends to be a boring. Tends to be a boring feel when you just have nothing but green going. But I think for this purpose, in our purposes right now, I think I'm going to just leave that alone. We just want this to dry a bit. Let's see if I can get a little spritz here and there to sort of get some leafy patterns going. In some of these areas. That has to dry a little bit more. Maybe this doesn't. Maybe I can get a little bit of some of that stuff, drop some water in it. And what I'm really looking to do by dropping waters in is to create a little bit of a few blossoms. Water into water, that is wet into wet, won't, all it's going to do is blend. But if I use a little bit of wet into a damp area, not a wet area, then I may be able to pick up some blossoms, some light. What happens is the water actually eats at the pigment. So essentially my focus is going to be in this area here, and I'm going to make this, I'm not sure if it's going to be a red bond, but I want some nice light strong areas in here. What I also want to do is to create some shadowed areas, and I'm just going to do that right now with blue. I'll do that with cobalt blue. Down in this area here, we're going to just sort of do some of this. Cut a little bit of shadow in here. Little bit of shadow in this area here. Okay, we're going to come right across in here, also in here. And we have some shadows back in this area here. All right. And just let that go. A blue shadow. And we're going to end up inside this barn, by the way. I'm just going to put a base of blue in here right now, because this is going to be my area where it's going to be probably the darkest. We're going to make some, well, just do some areas here. We're going to probably make a little bit of shadow underneath the eave that's there. We have an opening that's up here. I think what we're going to do is we have again, these are just, we're looking inside the barn. And I'm just sort of picking out spots here. Trying to get just the general feel of where the shadows are going to be in this area by using some blue. Cobalt blue. I'll make it a little bit darker obviously later. Just trying to outline where my heavy shadows are going to be, and I'm just doing this wet like. And we got stuff in here. There's probably a hole in the barn here. We got a little window here. And something going on up there. Maybe a little bit of something over here. The light's going to hit it strong on this side. So I think this whole thing will be basically in a little bit more lighter shadow too. So you can see what I'm doing is I'm just trying to pop this out. I'm not going to make this a white barn, I don't think. I know I've done white barns in the past. You know, I have an old barrel that's right here. And we got some, I'm going to end up throwing some chickens in here too. Just put a little shadow in there for now. And of course these poles, we're going to have shadows on the poles. Well, I guess I must have put a piece of wood or a barrel or something over here. Some rocks back there. Shadow there. Shadow there. Shadow there. Okay. And if I do it really light, let me get a little bit of a lizard. Now what I'm doing is I'm going to mix a little bit of, coming over here and taking a little bit of my opera and mix it in here. I'm getting this little bit of reddish blue, more purplish look here. You can see what I'm doing. Alright. And it's going to come down. And the same way with this, we're just lightly, this is super light. Okay. Alright. And of course I would have a cast shadow if the light's coming here. This barn would cast a shadow here. Cast a shadow there, right? And if it's going to hit the light side of this over here. So that's should be fine. Okay. Alright. So I'm not going to say, so we got something that's going, looking fairly good. Let's see if I can get a little bit of this water spritzed in here again. I don't know if I can do it. If it'll eat at it, we'll see. we'll make some shapes. We'll make some interesting shapes in here, create some interest overall. Okay, so we're going to make some of these darker. So I'm using cobalt blue. No, never mind. I'm going to use French ultramarine blue. A little bit of French ultramarine blue. Make some of this darker. Maybe we'll make this darker over here. French ultramarine blue, get thicker. Okay. Touching it here and there with some real darks. French ultramarine blue. Maybe a little bit of burnt sienna. How about that? A little French ultramarine blue, a little burnt sienna, make it some really even darker. This is a sort of on a, not the buttery side, but maybe a cream side, milk to cream again, that I'm just putting in here. I want some light holes. I want to be able to see through that. I'm going to make some real dark. Let's get some blue and some burnt sienna in here. And I'm going to actually, rather than fill in some of this stuff over here, because I don't want you to pay attention too much to that. And if you got little white holes over there, it's going to end up happening is your eye's going to go over to that area. Okay, let's come back over here a little bit more. And let's start to put in some of the darker areas over here too as well. Okay. And come down here. Again, French ultramarine blue. And we're going to end up coming in here and little dark areas here, 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 here. Dark, 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 okay. Nice and dark. A little bit of sort of interesting dark greens in certain areas here. Okay, something like that. I'm going to end up coming over here with something like as well. Now underneath the cabin, coming in here, make that a little darker in there. I'm going to just change that up a bit. Okay. Okay. See if I can make this more interesting. Uh-oh. Not dry enough. Shucks. That's dry enough. That's dry enough. Okay, so let's just put in some forms here in this thing. Make some interesting. This is basically all ready to go right now. And what I want to do is take my reference material and take a good hard look at it. And what I'm looking at is actually, I probably should show you this. What I'm looking at is this, which is a red barn. But I'm not going to paint it red. I don't want to do that. I'm gonna paint it, but I'm not going to paint it super red. I got a little bit, maybe, I'm not sure I got too much stuff going on back there. Through this telephone pole in here, and I have a rough area. I'm gonna just take a little bit of sandpaper. I have to get rid of this peely stuff. And then I'm going to straighten that out. Okay, so what do we need to do to help this out? Little chisel this little area out right here. bring it out a little bit more here. Alright, make this a little bit even up here. And we'll clip the edges off nice and straight in a minute. Okay. All right. We'll pop that out. All right. Just washing this out a little bit. All right. We'll fix that up. All right. So, the inside of the barn is dark, but we have, I'm going to make this dark. We're going to just bring in some burnt sienna in here, first of all. All right. A little bit of burnt sienna and a little bit of you don't want to, when you put this in, the interesting part about it is if you go slow, see what happens over here is that I went slow. You really need to move your brush really rapidly down here so that you don't get, so you get a sort of straight line, but you don't get, you don't, it doesn't look like it's unintentional. You just want to make sure that this really is in here, all right? And that's important. So nice and straight, nice and dark. Same thing with over here. You want this thing to move quickly. And I have something going on in here. And again, we're just going to put some darker areas in here. Combination French ultramarine blue, burnt sienna. Okay, you can make nice warm browns and nice warm darks. All right, same thing over here, right? All right. Okay. And we have well, what do we have here? We have this little shadow, right? A shadow. brown, did that too green. Okay, we want to build this out a little darker in spots. All right. I don't know, we have some things that are there that are pretty decent. Okay. Okay, so now I'm going to take a sort of a light, what I'm using is a model brush here. I'm going to take, this is going to be very light. The boards, first of all, this is the light side, so you know, you don't want this thing too dark. I mean, I actually have, let's put this in here. Little shadow right there. Some bit of shadow there. All right, but here's the thing. I want to come down here with a light stroke to create some texture. So maybe there's a little bit of red in this thing here. All right. We make some light strokes, a little brownish color. I think I have a big brown, here I got a big, you know what I forgot to do? I got a big window right here. A big opening, not a window, just looking into the barn. Okay. Okay. Let's just give it a shot. Okay. Making some barn board. Alrighty. Well, maybe we will make it, maybe I'll make it red. Or maybe not red, but let's just do it this way. Let's do that. yellow ochre. And nice strong yellow ochre here. My yellow ochre barn. All right, try that. Try that for a base color, all right? And then we'll thin it out on this side. A lot of water. This is the light side, nice and thin. Nice and thin. Watery. Got it? Same way with this stuff up here. Watery. Just a couple of light, nice, bright ones. All right. Shadow. Okay. Now, our barn is starting to pop. So we'll take a very small brush. We're going to make a the tractor that's in here. Can't tell it's a tractor, but you really don't have to tell it's a tractor. Okay. You just know that there's something in that barn. Okay, same thing with this here. We don't know what's in here, but we do know that there's something in there. and let that all dry. While that's drying, we'll put in see if I can do this. Well, that's all being done. My tree trunk back here, a couple of others. Good standpipe in that area right there. How about something right here, maybe a little bit redder. Maybe a little bit redder. All right. Tone it down. So what we're really doing is just building this up here to create more interest. We have some rocks back here too. Let's just put some in. A little bit of my blue and lavender, and we just darken areas. So get some dark underneath it. I gotta put, when this dries, we'll put some lines. For instance, we'll do some of these linear things that happen. Okay. Okay. We need to make some of these real dark. We're going to darken the corner here. Let's darken that up. Okay. Can I scrape that? Can I scrape that? I don't know if I can. Not sure. Can't do that one because that's okay. Well, we'll have to do. No. All right. So, okay, guys. So let's get going on a little bit more of what we have to finish off here. Green. All right. Let's get some of the brighter stuff in there. All right. Create something a little bit more interesting. back in this area here, and we'll make those bottles, or not bottles, but well, these barrels, I gotta just make those barrels a little bit more interesting. I think what I did is maybe overworked it a bit, but let's see if we can get this thing back. All right, that's good. Let's get some right stuff in here. Alrighty. Okay. That'll do for the barn. Alrighty. And we'll just put a very thin coat. Parts there. Okay. Ready. And a little bit of shadow. Like that. Okay. just dark areas. We need real dark areas. Oh, look at what I'm doing. I'm marooning this because it's all wet. Ah! All wet. Damn. Or I should say shucks. Okay. I gotta fix my chickens. And fix my barrel. And fix my wires. Let's see if I can do this. So can I continue to work on this a little bit? I just gotta let it dry. Okay, let's see if we can change this up a bit. I want to get that different, varying values in there. Just give it a nice cast. Okay. Yep. We'll do a little bit of cool. See if that works. And I'm going to start to build some bright colors. Gotta scrape that out. This is not working properly here. All right. I'll fix that. And we'll fix this a little bit because these poles are not doing what they should be doing. So let's get some real heavy pigment in here. A little bit better. I don't like what that's. I don't like what's going on there. Don't like what this is at all. So can I take it out there? I don't like this. I'm going to make this into something else. We'll let that dry. Okay, I think I'm done. For the sake of our lesson, I pulled it off, took a look at it, came back, and it looks fairly good. I mean, it's great enough, good enough for what we're dealing with here, which is the lesson in terms of how to do this barn. What I wanted to do, and the reason I was a little unhappy here, is that it was all the same tonal value. So I wanted to make this cooler, so I added some on this side, and on this side I added some cerulean blue to the side, which gave it a cooler look and a warmer look. So there's a warm look and a warm look and a cool look, and I added a little bit of tone up here for that. Now, you know what, while I have you on the phone, before I just leave you guys, let me just try something here. What I actually also did is that I took my little bit of a white pen here and just added some lines in here which are indicative of the telephone line. But if I actually erase this, I'm just out of curiosity, if I just erase the lines in here, these lines and these lines here, doesn't look too bad, actually. I mean, it's just surprising to me. It doesn't look really that, you know, when I got away from this, I wasn't too really keen on it, but you know what, it might work. Even this, where I roughed it up, took out that piece. So not a bad deal. Looks good. So that's it. I'm your host, Tony Visco. This is Painting for Pleasure, and until the next time, happy painting.